The New York Yankees are now well into their spring training schedule, and it's time to check in on the Bronx Bombers. We're going to do it with New York Post Yankees beat reporter Greg Joyce, who joins us from Tampa, Florida. Greg, how is it going?
Going well, Dexter. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't believe that we are getting just closer by the day to actual baseball games that count. I know you're ready for the long haul of the 162 that will be coming up. But, Greg, let's talk about the Yankees because they played Detroit on Sunday, and pitcher Dexter Cortez, he threw the ball pretty well. How well is Nasty Nestor feeling as he builds up towards the 2024 season?
Yeah, it was pretty encouraging. He said it's the best he's felt in a while, which is good. And, he threw 4 innings. I think he got his pitch count up to around 54. Started mixing in some of his old tricks like the hesitation deliveries and kind of dropping his arm slot, which is a pretty good sign for how his shoulder's feeling. And the biggest thing for him last year when he had the 2 rotator cuff strains, he was having a hard time recovering in between outings. And so that was always going to be the biggest thing for him this spring. He said he's felt good in that regard. And this time leading into the start, he was 3 or 4 days out of his last start. Said he felt like he'd been, over a week since he last pitched. He was feeling that fresh with his shoulder. So it's going to be interesting to see how he feels as he keeps building up his pitch count. It's been a while since he got up to a regular full workload that he hopes to be at by the end of spring. But, it was certainly one of the biggest questions going into spring was how Nestor Cortez is going to be physically. And so far, he seems to be doing pretty well, which has to be encouraging.
Yeah, so far so good. Yankee fans have to be encouraged by seeing him throw the ball confidently. We'll see if that can continue. Now, also on Sunday, Juan Soto, he remained hot, homered for the 3rd time in 4 spring training games. How motivated is Soto to get off to a good start in his first season in Pinstripes?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just getting him comfortable. Aaron Boone and a lot of his teammates have mentioned that, just trying to make him feel at home in the new clubhouse. He's obviously been traded twice, so it's not totally foreign to him, but just trying to get him assimilated in the room and everything so that he can go out there and produce. And so far, he looks pretty good. Like you said, 3 home runs in 4 games. And obviously, spring training results can often be meaningless, especially for veterans like Soto, even though he's 25. But, he's talking about how he's focused on just kind of seeing pitches, getting his timing down. But it all looks to be, fairly good at this point. And just Aaron Boone mentioned the tough at-bat that he's had, too. I think that the one today that led to the home run was an 8-pitch at-bat, fouled off three pitches. He's known for his great eye, and that all looks to be, pretty strong early on. So it's about as good of a first week of games as you could imagine for Juan Soto.
Yeah, definitely a good start for him. Greg, I also wanted to talk to you about Giancarlo Stanton because he came into camp noticeably leaner, and he says that he feels better after his first fully healthy offseason in years. Besides changes to his body, he's also made changes that he has said to his swing. How has Stanton looked in your eyes early this spring?
Yeah, so he hasn't gotten a ton of results so far in the games, but he said he's feeling good about his offseason so far. First few weeks of camp, he raised his hands slightly in his batting stance. He said he's feeling good about that and his timing so far. Trying to get, he saw on Friday night, he went 97 miles an hour fastball up atop the zone. He took it the other way with a line drive, which, would seem to be attributed to that tweak in his stance, being able to get those high pitches at high velocity. So there's that, like you said, the batting stance tweak, but also just physically, he seems to be more mobile, moving a little bit better. He was in the outfield on Thursday night. It's the earliest I think he's been in the outfield since 2018 or 2019 in spring training. So it's a pretty good sign in the Yankees' eyes in terms of how he's moving around, how he's feeling physically. And the biggest thing is just trying to keep him off the injured list, because when he is able to stay healthy, generally he's been a pretty productive player at the offensively. So that was the main goal of what he did in the offseason, and they seem to be encouraged by what they see so far.
Yeah, got to be encouraged. Yankee fans will be happy if he can stay off the IL and contribute on the field, whether in the outfield or at DH. One other pitcher I wanted to talk to you about was Garrett Cole, because he made his Grapefruit League debut on Friday against the Blue Jays. What did you make of what you saw from the Yankees ace in that game?
Yeah, it's kind of a workman-like outing. He's always, especially for a veteran like him, he's always working on things in spring training. So he said he was kind of working on kind of repeating his delivery and trying to repeat the same location of a pitch 3-4 times in a row. And that kind of led to guys jumping on pitches in the first inning. So he came out of the first inning, I think it was after 22 pitches. Boone didn't want his pitch count to get any higher, but I think it's the spring training rules that he was able to come back in to start the second inning and get the rest of his work in. So for a guy like that, who's had the success and is established, really worry too much about the results and just because they are working on certain things in games like that, and it's really just about building up the workload. But he said everything was feeling good. He kind of mixed in all of his pitches, and it was good for a step as he kind of starts that what could be a defense of his Cy Young.
Yeah, good start for the Yankees ace. Now, speaking of the Yankees pitching, there's been some rumors about them bolstering their pitching rotation. The pitcher Blake Snell has been rumored to sign with the Yanks as a free agent. What's the likelihood, Greg, of the Yanks signing Snell to bolster their starting pitching rotation?
Yeah, I mean, you can never say never as long as Snell is out there as a free agent until he signs somewhere else. But it seems unlikely at this point just because, the luxury tax situation the Yankees are in, any dollar they're already over the highest threshold of $297 million. I think they're about $307 million right now. So any dollar they spend over 297 is going to cost them 110%. So if you bring in Snell on a $30 million average annual value, it's going to cost them $63 million this year alone. So it's a pretty hefty price tag. And at this point, the Yankees they entered camp with some question marks about their rotation. So far, they seem to be feeling good about it. The guys who had injuries last year have been healthy so far, and the number 5, who theoretically in a situation if Snell did come to the Yankees, might get bumped to the bullpen, is Clark Schmidt, who they think has a high ceiling, and there's another step for him to take this year. So, like I said, never say never until he signs somewhere, and it's kind of crazy that it's still, this deep into spring training and he still hasn't signed, but it would seem unlikely at this point.
All right, going with unlikely there for the Yankees signing Snell. Last thing for me, Greg, because you've been watching these games, these first couple of games, or over a week now of spring training games with the Yankees. Who's the Yankee that has really impressed you during spring training to this point? Then you also think the fans should keep an eye on this player going forward?
Yeah, I think the one to watch is Nick Burdi, who's a reliever who's a non-roster guy and invited to camp. He's a well-known name just because he was a high draft pick, has always had the stuff, but has struggled to stay healthy. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries and then a surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome, which is tough to come back from any of those alone, never mind all 3. But he's healthy right now. Anytime you talk to anybody with the Yankees, they talk about stuff is as good as you'll ever see it in any pitcher. And so the key is just kind of keeping him healthy. He pitched again on Saturday against the Orioles, struck out at the side. It did allow a hit and a walk. So Boone said, there's room to tighten up the arsenal there, but they really like what they see from stuff-wise. And so if they can kind of keep him healthy, he seems like a guy that could carve out a bullpen role to break camp with these guys.
All right, keep your eye on Nick Burdi, Yankee fans, see if he can make the final roster with the team pitching out of the pen. Following the team, always around the team, through spring training and the season, will be Greg Joyce, New York Post Yankees beat writer. Greg, thank you for the time, breaking down the Yankees in spring training, and we will talk down the road soon.
You got it. Thanks, Dexter.